My husband taught me, and also age is exactly how long we've been together, because achy breaky heart was a thing in that era.
Oh yeah, that's the way back, the way back clock.
Like about 35
Is there
years.
anything that we need to prep in advance? No? Like
no.
you've got your questions, you know what?
No.
Like,
We're
just
all
chatting?
good? Yeah,
We're
we're
just-
all just chatting. Yeah,
Okay.
I wish I could have
told
wine
you.
on set. Well, I guess we could. You're just starting this.
So I'm recording.
Just recording, okay?
Okay, so running intro in 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new edition of Hue at Home. I've got the lovely Linda Drosdowech here, and Linda has always been a mastermind of speaking and getting us motivated, but today we're going to do a deep dive into everybody's sphere, I think, public speaking. Am I correct, Linda?
You are correct. We are going to do a deep dive, in particular on keynote speaking.
Yes.
So,
I know. So what is keynote speaking? We're going to go to the experts here. I have two more lovely ladies. I've got Tracy MacConaghie and I've got Kristine Tuberia. Sorry, Dad. But anyways, Kristine's dad, I mean. But all three of these wonderful women are founders of Keynote Connect. So who would like to start first on what Keynote Connect is all about?
I will start with a quick anecdote that I didn't know that the word keynote speaker comes from the keynote that a cappella groups and barbershop groups would play before they start to sing to make sure that everyone starts on the same note. So that's where keynote comes from. So our mission for Keynote Connect is to empower and develop keynote speakers in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and beyond, and to really focus on the power and the impact and the influence that keynote speakers have on their audience, to really set the tone for the event and to create change and transformation from the stage. So that's a little bit about what we're up to.
Okay, and Tracy, we'll get into what each of you do, your areas of expertise. Why women? And are women popular?
Absolutely. And, Keynote's not just for women, although we are finding that that's the group that's really interested in building this community. And because they probably haven't always been brave enough to take the stage. But, we've all been at conferences where we've sat there and seen a speaker who maybe flew in from somewhere outside of Manitoba and said, well, they were good, but don't they know about Linda or Kristine? We have so many really strong people in this community and so many strong women. We wanted to make sure that we could showcase them and give them a place to shine here at home.
So thank goodness COVID is over. We're back in person. So, meetings and conferences, conventions are at full bore. Why are keynote speakers important, Kristine?
Because they set the stage for the event. You've got a captivated audience, whether it's your members or your common group of people in industry, and a keynote can make or break an event. If you have a keynote that has a compelling story or has people at the edge of their edge of their seat, you know that the group has done a great job in hiring that right person to, serve the audience.
Okay, so Linda, now a life coach, and you've done speaking. How did you overcome the fears that, we'll talk about them, of becoming a public speaker?
That's a great question. And I always like to reassure people that if they see me on stage or I'm on camera and I look very comfortable, it is through years of practice and getting over being very, very intimidated by public speaking. I was the kid in the class that sat there going, please don't call on me, please don't call on me. And I really had to learn how to break out of that fear. I developed, well, I always tell people practice is key to anything, right? You have to practice it. You have to be willing to, get it wrong at first, some trial and error. And really, the main point is to connect, right? So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to connect with your audience. You're connecting with one person in the audience. And as we all know, as business owners, entrepreneurs, people who have a message to share, we know that storytelling is a big part of communicating and engaging and connecting. So for me, when I realized that public speaking was a way to storytell and connect, I learned, a few tricks and tips that anyone can learn. I reassure people, this is not, you're not born with it. You're not born just a charismatic leader on the stage. These are skills you can develop. So slowly but surely, you can gain the confidence to be on stage.
So Tracy, when we're talking about Keynote Connect, what are some of the things that are important for people that are coming to you for information?
So what's really unique is with the three of us, we all bring such different skills to this. So when people come, they're going to get the guidance on how to bring their message to the stage, how to do that well, how to be impactful, how to know what it is that they want to share. We're also going to help them with that business of being a keynote speaker. How do you look at your pricing? How do you brand? How do you market yourself? And then how do you take yourself and get yourself into paid jobs? How do you get yourself to get even more pay? And how do you spread your wings and go across Canada and into other international places? So we're actually able to offer all three of that knowledge because how different our careers and paths have been.
And then looking at event-wise, is there enough business here for women in Winnipeg to be successful? Kristine?
Absolutely. We look at today's market, there are events almost every day if you really wanted to. There are conferences, people need somebody to be that keynote on their stage. Somebody needs a key facilitator for team building events. There's a lot of different organizations that are looking for speakers and the demand is high. And I found in my own experience working with various organizations, we were looking outside of the province when there's so much talent in Manitoba. Why are we not capitalizing it?
So why start something like this? I've got some general information that yes, we want to support and share our Winnipeg stories, but it's sort of like, maybe I'll just, sit by the side or I'll wait for the phone call, but why start something unique like Keynote?
That's a great question. Why do we encourage people not to just sit by the phone hoping somebody's going to call, and offer them that lucrative, Keynote Connect contract? First off, we started it for community, and I know you're a big believer in community. You and I got to know each other through COVID and connecting through your mission, which was diverse voices need to be heard, right? So that would be a shared vision of ours as well, that there's a need for more diversity in who is speaking, who has the microphone. The person who has the microphone has some power, right? So we want to elevate people who maybe have not been heard before or have not had the confidence to really take up space and claim their stage. So it was really about community, it was about diversity, and what else was it about? I think those would be the two that come to mind the most. And why act now? We are really, the three of us together are having a great time planning, and our knowledge that we feed off of each other's experience and knowledge. And Kristine was reminding us that the biggest time for speakers to be hired are spring and fall, And so right now we're starting the mastermind March 5th, in part to prepare people to get their pitches out for the fall speaking circuit. So we are really looking at empowering people to start now, so that you can prepare, you can be ready to take the stage in the next season. So we're trying to think of
Learning.
everything.
Yes. Okay, so Keynote Connect, is it only for women or men and
No,
everybody?
it's for everybody. But so we've now held 2 events, and we have our next event on the 19th. And what we're finding is it's predominantly women. So as I say, I think a lot of the male speakers, they found their path. They are comfortable in doing that. But the women speakers, there's so many folks, as we've been talking about, they can start at all different levels, and that's what we're seeing. We have people who've never taken the stage before, all the way to people who've been international speakers. So it's diversity and experience in gender and in race. It's just a really strong community.
So I'm curious, pricing. Because we all know women, we always lowball. And then even at that, oh, that's way too much. Oh, okay, well, I'll do this, whatever. Is there a limit?
Well, I think it
Kristine?
depends on who you are, your qualifications, also what experience you're bringing to the table. I think that's a lot of it. But I mean, it comes right down to pricing and pricing speaking as a business. Will find people out there that charge nothing, and they do it to speak to others at no cost. But then you have people that will do 500, 750, 1,000, 1,200, 5,000.
One more.
The range is endless, and if you look at some of the speaker bureaus that are out there, they range from 5 to 20,000. And I think I've even worked with speakers that have been $25,000. And so the range is different, but to be able to provide those who are interested in speaking a framework and setting up a pricing structure that makes sense and that is reasonable and that's fair to them, I think is our goal here.
Well, that's fabulous, because I think that's definitely a starting point. What was your worst speech?
What was my worst speech? Oh, okay. That was years ago, and I shouldn't say years and years ago, but it was years and years ago. I was in my 20s, and I was a speaker for a women's shelter in Ontario. So I was the public speaker, educator, and fundraiser for a women's shelter. And so I was speaking to, and I was young and inexperienced, and I was speaking to a room. I think there was 300 police officers in the room, and I was speaking about domestic violence, and I was supposed to be the authority, but it was the most intimidating room I have ever been in. It was dead silence. None of my quick wit was working on these guys. I just remember it was very intimidating, and I walked away from that going, okay, lesson learned. For me, it was, that would have been the most intimidating one that I've ever done.
Well, guaranteed, folks, that won't happen to you. But Tracy, what are the more common, things like that, but what are the more common fears or anxieties that you see with people that come for help?
Yeah, so I think often when we see people, they say, well, what should I talk about? Right? Well, and they'll be like, but I can talk about anything. It's like, no, you really have to stop and plan and think about, what is that value? What are you passionate about? What do you want to share with the world that will make a difference? So that's one of the first things that we help people work through. What is their true value of that? And then we'll help them work through, how to deliver it, how to be impactful, and how to get those first gigs, right? How do you actually start, and how it's okay if you send out 10 emails and nobody responds, because that's just part of the business part of being a keynote. So, it's that not knowing what to say, making sure that you're prepared, and being prepared to face rejection before you ever hit the stage.
Oh yes, lots of rejection. Kristine, now, there definitely probably is not an even playing field between women keynote speakers and men. Do you see it kind of possibly in the future becoming parable, or are we always going to be behind the 8 ball?
Well, I would like to hope that we will be at level playing fields. When we were talking about some of the things that women do face, it's fear, self-doubt. Am I authority on the stage to talk about this? We've all faced it, and I think helping build that confidence is key. Helping them be very specific in designing their talk and what they're passionate about, because we all know that if you are not authentic on that stage, your audience can tell, and we want to be able to help identify that.
That's so true. You talked about having a story, but it's lived experience. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that falls into having a passion, and we can certainly see that. All right, so March 5th, Mastermind. What is it going to involve, and what is the end game?
Oh my goodness. The end game. The end game is endless possibilities. So it starts March 5th. We're having a kickoff party for all the people who register and join. And we are going to really embody being a keynote speaker. I think one of our kickoff activities is, what's your walk-on song? So if you're thinking of you walking on stage, what's your walk-on song? And then we are going to do 6 sessions that are online, really interactive work sessions where we are going through all the things that we've said, your message, your story, your structure, gaining that confidence, the marketing and business plan, the pricing. We could have somebody who is an expert on media come in and talk, perhaps. And then preparing them for the final event, which will be a networking event with our community, as well as industry players who are event planners, conference organizers, and our keynote speakers who will be delivering their 3-minute mini keynote, which we are going to have them ready to deliver and be.
It's like a TED Talk /
It's-
Dragon's Den.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Everybody wins.
Exactly.
Oh.
And then we plan to, we're creating a directory that will then be given to the industry players who hire keynote speakers. So we're going to feature the members, and then they will be featured in this directory for a year, and we're going to have an ongoing interactive process with them for the year, which include more networking events, more VIP events with industry. So one of the things that we're very, very passionate about is we're not just empowering the speaker, we really want to connect them to industry and beyond. That's why the name Keynote Connect.
And that's wonderful, because that's where a lot of things fall off the rails. They'll get you to a
Exactly.
certain point and you go, oh, I have my certificate. Where's next?
Exactly.
And, I just really want to mention to folks, these 3 ladies have a wealth of experience. Kristine, just tell us a little bit about your day job.
That varies, but basically for the last 20-some maybe years, I've been working with events, speakers, coaches, helping design membership events, conferences, and then in the last few years designing them for my clients and helping them either be on stage or create a stage.
All right, so great background. And Tracy?
Perfect. So I'm currently the CEO at WeMB, which is formerly Women's Enterprise, so lifting up and supporting women plus owned businesses. I spent some time in government, but then before that I ran an industry organization where I hired speakers and dealt with getting conferences organized and really working through that piece. And it was through those roles that I built my network that I hope to be able to connect to all of our great new keynote speakers.
So Linda, how do you fit in?
Well, as you
I
know,
know.
I'm a coach.
Yes.
I work with speakers. I've had the pleasure this past year of being the speaker coach for Creative Mornings, which has been a delight. So I get to work with all sorts of different kinds of speakers for that. And I also, I don't think I told you this, but I'm now a business management and leadership instructor at Red River. So I get to teach.
You're an instructor.
I see the classroom as a stage, right?
Yes. You get great
My
practice.
lucky students. And you know what's funny about that is I do encourage my students, much to some of their chagrin, the importance of public speaking and leadership. So I'm always getting people to come up and teach and develop that skill right from the beginning, because I really do believe it is the key to business, entrepreneurship, right? Being, important for your career. It's so important. So yeah, I really
Good for
strongly
you.
believe in that.
Well, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
all of you.
Thank
and
you.
it's
Thanks.
propping up, I think, our future leaders, and definitely need to see more women represented in those areas. But everybody, Mastermind, Keynote Connect. Linda, for more information, where can people go to?
They can go to my website, lindadrosdowech.com/Keynote Connect.
All right, there you go. Future Keynote Connect public speakers. TED Talks might be calling you up the next day. Who knows? But thank you so much to my guests, Kristine, Tracy, and Linda. As always,
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you for joining us here on Hue at Home.